Hello and welcome to my channel. So in this talk we are going to discuss about illusory body. The illusory body is term for one of the six yogas of Naropa, also called luminosity. In his commentary, Pema Kharpo says that the clear light is experienced briefly by all human beings at the very first moment of death, by advanced yogic practitioners in the highest states of meditation, and unceasingly by all Buddhas. So, so what they are saying is when these coarse and subtle minds dissolve during deep sleep, then it is to be experienced. And how to develop this? To develop this, when you are in deep sleep, if you can still be awake, then what is going to happen is that if you can remain lucid, then you can recognize at the time of death uh, that you are not asleep and you can gain Buddhahood. This is called the meeting of mother and child luminosities, resulting in the state of Thugdam at death. Practice is a kind of contemplation on the illusory nature of phenomena. So this illusory body uh, is basically a very deep concept, and most people will not be able to relate to it. Their illusory body occurs after they have practiced um, a lot of ritualistic yogas, and then uh, a body similar in appearance to what their present body is at the when you will do this. So what is the current state of your body? When you achieve this luminosity, an illusory body will appear to you, which looks exactly like how you would look at that time. And with that illusory body, you can guide it into various places in the spiritual dimension. So, this I found in a Jain text that I'm telling you about. Not exactly Jain text, but I found this knowledge somewhere. And this illusory body will never grow old. It will remain with you, but if your soul gets obstructed with karmic particles, slowly you will not be able to see it, but it will remain there. And you can invoke this illusory body in the spiritual dimension at will. Okay, so where we were, practice. All animate and inanimate things of the three worlds are like the examples of an illusion, a dream, and so forth. See this at all times, both in movement and in stillness. Contemplate an illusory deity reflected in a mirror. Take a drawn image of Vajrasattva and consider how the reflected image vividly appears. Just as that image is an illusory appearance, so it is with all things. The yogi thus contemplates the 12 assemblies and sees the reality of how all things are illusory. This is the instruction of the Mahasiddha Nagarjuna. It is done by assuming a meditative posture and meditating by looking at one's body in a mirror, contemplating how it has an illusory nature. According to Craig, he should then speak to himself, voicing many self criticisms and check whether he feels any unhappiness or expressing praises and see whether he feels pleased. As long as such emotions arise, he has not trained himself sufficiently in the practice. Once no emotion occurs, he should contemplate all appearances of himself and everything else as having a hallucinatory and dreamlike quality. One should meditate on reality as being dreamlike before doing the mirror practice. So these are various practices so that illusory body can be created. So one must practice the previous dharmas of generation stage inner heat, karma mudra and radiance yoga. One begins by practicing inner heat and karma mudra, then going through the stages of the dissolution of the elements and meditating until radiance and the four blisses arise. Then one uses this radiant blissful mind to meditate on emptiness and rest single pointedly in that non conceptual absorption. That in times of the day when one is not meditation, one maintains awareness of the vision of emptiness and recollects the previous meditation on transforming all appearances into the mandala and its deities. This will lead all appearances to arise as illusions. So I'm going to stop over here. So you can research more into it, and we haven't gone deep into this, but uh, in this also we can see six dharmas of Naropa, are a set of advanced Tibetan Buddhist tantric practices compiled by the Indian Mahasiddha Tilopa and Naropa. So liberation from waking, sleep and dying. So six dharmas are a collection of tantric Buddhist completion stage drawn from Buddhist tantras. They are intended to lead to Buddhahood in a accelerated manner. Overview lineage. Gampopa, who wrote various meditation manuals. Classification. So person needs to visualize oneself as a deity and recited the mantras of the deity. The six dharmas, the yoga of inner heat or mystic heat, the yoga of clear light radiance or luminosity, the yoga of the dream state. So first is Kundali, second is Prabhaswara, third is Swapnadarsana, the yoga of the dream state, fourth is Mayakaya, the yoga of the illusory body, then it is Antarbhava, the yoga of the intermediate state, Samkranti, the yoga of the transference of consciousness to a pure Buddha field, Fova. So generation stage, then it is a karma mudra stage, then it is a forceful transference in which the sadhaka may transfer their mind stream into a recently deceased body. Drongjuk for self-liberation. Naropa himself in the Vajra verses of the whispered tradition adds the practice of self-liberation in the wisdom of non-duality, which is the resolved view of Mahamudra. This is always considered as a distinct path. The Gyalva Vansapa groups them into two dharmas, the yogas for drawing the vital energies into the central channel. The yogas that are performed once energies have been withdrawn in this way. Inner heat, karma mudra, illusory body, clear light. Here, three of the six laws of consciousness transference, forceful projection, and the Padu yogas are not given the status of separate dharmas. Generation stage, inner heat, karma mudra, introduction to the essence of the view of the ultimate nature of being, the indicative clear light of the path, and the indicative illusory nature together with dream yoga. So basically, the person is dreaming, but still he has clear consciousness as to what he is doing in the sleep. He is sleeping, but he is still awake. He is in a dream-like state, but he knows he is in a dream-like state. So in all schools of Tibetan Buddhism, there are various preliminary practices. So taking refuge, bodhisattva aspiration, guru yoga, deity yoga, and dedication of merit. Refuge in the three jewels and the two aspects of bodhisattva. Filling like a vase, circling like a wheel, hooking like a hook, showing the mudra of Vajra binding, lifting upward towards the sky and then pressing downward, straightening like an arrow and then forcefully releasing the air in the manner of dog heaving, and in order to energize the passages and blood in the body, shaking the head and entire body and flexing the muscles. One commences as before with the practice of visualizing oneself as the mandala deity, is to concentrate on the body from the tip of the head to the soles of the feet as being utterly empty of material substance, like an empty transparent balloon filled with light. Here the body is to be envisioned as being entirely without substance, appearing in the mind like a rainbow in the sky. So what they are saying, a special time of type of pranayam where the practitioner is sitting with a straight back, visualizing the channels, holding the breath deep in the abdomen for extended periods, then applying visualization of a fiery short stroke or syllable on the navel. This practice leads the vital winds into the central channel where they are said to melt the drop bindus, which are tiny spheres of subtle energy causing great bliss. This powerful bliss experience is said to constitute a similitude of the actual bliss experienced in spiritual awakening. According to Glenmullen, Tantric scriptures states that the tantric bliss experienced in this practice is 100 times more intense than ordinary orgasm, gives rise to special state of consciousness. This ecstatic state of mind is then used to contemplate emptiness. This ecstasy conjoined with emptiness is what is referred to as Mahamudra. So, four chakras need to be visualized along the central channel with various spokes radiating out of each chakra like an open umbrella. At the navel, there is emanation chakra with 64 spokes. At the heart, there is dharma chakra with 8 spokes. In the throat, there is enjoyment chakra with 16 spokes. At the top of the head, there is great bliss chakra with 32 spokes. It is instructed that the practitioner should hold the breath below the navel to make the A letter flare up like a flame, the fire reaching so high that the flames strike the letter hum visualized in the great bliss chakra. This causes an energy called bodhicitta, which is stored in this chakra, to trickle down through the central channel as it fills up the different chakras on its way down. It generates different experiences of bliss after reaching and filling the navel chakra. The bodhicitta is visualized as flowing back up, while yogi continues to use the Gutum breathing technique of holding the breath for as long as possible in the abdomen. At the end of the practice, the practitioner stops visualizing Yetlami bathe the channels, winds, and drops and instead rests in an uncontrived state of Mahamudra. Another meditation manual by Gampopa also mentions a practice that relies on visualizing a drop between the eyebrows. This bindu descends and ascends through the central channel, spreading a sensation of bliss emptiness along the way. Regarding post meditation, the yogi is instructed to train in experiencing all sensory impressions as blissful and to maintain a constant sense of inner heat and the soothing, cool bliss of the descending bodhicitta. It is said that the experience of everything as being blissful will automatically give rise to the experience of non thought, nirvikalpa. In the song Khapa's system, inner heat is the foundation stone for the whole six dharmas, along with meditation on emptiness. Every time one practices one of the six dharmas, one must first generate inner heat along with the four blisses and merge this with meditation on emptiness. Once mastered, Tummo is then applied to the practice of illusory body, and based on the illusory body yoga, one practices radiance clear light yoga. Meditating on mantric seed syllables on the center of each chakra, one should concentrate on the syllables of the upper chakras for just a short period of time and then dedicate most of the session to meditating on the ah stroke at the navel chakra. The other syllables are an upside down white hem at the crown chakra, an upside down blue hum at the heart chakra, a red om at the throat chakra. The seed syllables should be visualized as tiny like the size of a mustard seed, though Tsongkhapa states that one can start imagining them as larger than that and then shrink them. Meditation on the chakras, labels, and channels joined with the waist breathing technique. To practice waist breathing, breathe a long, deep breath through the nose. To practice waist breathing, breathe a long, deep breath through the nose. Then swallow and press down with the abdomen. Retain the air for as long as possible. Then one releases the breath gently and quietly. According to Tsongkhapa, until some progress has been made in this practice, one should practice gently without forcefulness. There should be no discomfort. One should also practice on an empty stomach. The Tsongkhapa describes the outcome of the full method with all three elements described above practiced at once. Then the energies residing in the chakra at the secret place cause the A stroke syllable at the navel chakra, which is in nature the inner fire, to blaze with light. This light rises up the central channel, Avadhuti, and melts the other three syllables, Hum, Om, and Hum, respectively at the crown, throat, and heart chakras. These melt and fall into the syllable A at the navel chakra. The four become of one inseparable nature. One then fixes the mind on the drop formed by this fusion, the nature of which is the innate ecstasy. If one can do so, then from the drop comes the tongue of a tiny flame of the inner heart heat. One fixes the mind on it. Light from this flame rises up the central channel where it melts the drop of white bodhi mind substance abiding within the crown chakra. This drips down like nectar, filling the stroke mantric level at the navel chakra. One meditates single pointedly on the stroke until the signs of stability arise. When meditative stability has been achieved, then the radiance of the light from the inner fire will illuminate the inside and outside of one's body, as well as one's dwelling place and so forth, rendering them as transparent as a piece of curura fruit held in hand. This practice will cause the vital winds to enter the central channel. Tsongkhapa describes various signs that this has occurred, mainly that the breath flows smoothly and evenly through the nostrils. Then it becomes increasingly subtle, and then it stops altogether. The more practice is also said to generate the four blisses. Tsongkhapa explains that the first bliss arises when the energy drops in the crown chakra is melted and the idle winds are dropped to the crown by the neck. When the energies reach the throat, this is the second bliss. When they reach the heart, the third bliss arises. And when they reach the navel, the fourth innate bliss arises. If one can hold the mind at the chakras for extended periods, one will gain the ability to control the movement of the energy drops. Then one can also bring the drop back up the central channel, experiencing the bases again, but starting from the navel chakra. One then continues to practice by moving the drop up and down the central channel, experiencing the four descending and four rising blisses again and again. To meditate on innate wisdom, one lets the drop melt all the way down to the chakra at the secret place tip of the jewel. Then one meditates on emptiness and rests in that ecstasy, emptiness meditation. Then one brings the drop back to the crown chakra, which meditates on the sphere of ecstasy conjoined with emptiness. Tsongkhapa further states during the post meditation periods, one must consciously cultivate mindfulness of the experience of ecstasy and emptiness and stamp all objects and events that appear and occur with the seal of this ecstasy and emptiness. This application causes a special ecstasy to be ignited, which one should foster. So this seems to be quite a big document, but still, like it feels interesting. So let's continue. So so this is to be done daily. The meditation, what they are saying, as you can see on the screen, needs to be done daily. Upward movements of his breath while meditating on the sound of certain mantric syllable. So you can go over this if you're interested in this. Radiance yoga, luminosity, radiance or clear light, clear radiant nature, the mind which is associated with Buddha nature, it is said to be experienced during various events in one's life. So basically, like uh, from the Jainism topics, we have come far into Buddhism and then into some uh, ritualistic practices which were being followed, and probably some people found these practices to give them some benefits. But this has become quite deep. So we are going to stop over here and then come back to it later. So because this is going deeper and deeper, and I do not expect this talk to go so long. But seems like they are taking everything into practice. They are saying that supreme enlightenment should be attained before death. Applies the techniques learned through the yoga of the illusory body of dreams and generates the Bardo body as the illusory body of the Bardo. So we need to come over this again. So I will put this video titled as a prelude to the six dharmas of Naropa, because ultimately we went quite deep into this, but we have still touched the surface of it. Six dharmas of Naropa. So this is the prelude to it, but what Jainism couldn't give, like how exactly to attain moksha, and what they have stated is that it's out of reach of everyone. So they have put a stop sign that no one should go beyond. So personally, I have found in Jainism that the knowledge is not being given uh, to the communities. It is being, a lot of knowledge is being withheld. Uh, the knowledge is being made obscure. But here in Buddhism, and when we read the six dharmas of Naropa, it starts becoming clear, uh, and it is explained very clearly, like what are the six steps, and the final step being like with supreme enlightenment one can attain illusory body, and then he can sail over after death. So how, like, this illusory body needs to be developed, and when we are dreaming we have to, what we need to do, but still we are just skimming the surface only. This needs to be studied in a lot of detail so that we can advance to the path of enlightenment. So I'm going to stop over here for real this time and label it six dharmas of Naropa. Prelude.